This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular session meeting on August 12th of the Easthampton School Committee. We are going to roll call in. Linda will roll you first. Linda Markey.
Present.
Thank you, Linda. Eric.
Here.
Megan.
Here.
Sam.
Here.
Mayor.
Present.
Laura Scott present. We are going to move on to announcements. Megan, do we have any correspondence to report?
I have no correspondence to report and no gifts that I'm aware of.
Okay. And the student representative update, as we mention every meeting, is one of our favorite parts, but we do honor the students' summer vacation. We expect we will likely have the high school representative here in September, and likely the Mountain View representative, rather, if not in September, then in October. And we are so excited to welcome them and hear their thoughts and hear how the school year is rolling out. We are going to move on to public comment. If you are in the room, you can please stand behind the podium. If you're joining us remotely and have thoughts to share, please raise your virtual hand and I will call on you in the order that I see you. We'll give that just a minute for, I don't know, folks to steal themselves or whatever. We are early, so I'm gonna give it just a minute. Seeing no hands raised, we are going to close public comment and we are going to move on to the business update, slightly out of order, but out of respect for the precious time of our fantastic Director of Business Services, Julia Sari-Franks. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I submitted to you the monthly report for August. So the end of year financial report, DESE is scheduled to release the files for we'll say every business manager's favorite task, completing the end of year financial report. The files are scheduled to be released on August 15th. Once those files are available, my team and I will begin compiling all of the information and coordinating with city staff to gather all the information to submit that report. That report is has to be submitted to DESE by September 30th. So once that report is submitted, we can say that we have officially closed the fiscal year. So once that report is submitted, then I will be providing detailed information to the committee at a later date regarding the close of fiscal year of FY25. The summer food program is still up and running. This week is the last week of that program. Meals are being offered through lunch on Friday. That program is running at MBS and at the high school. During the month of July, 2,124 meals were served to young folks in our community.
We are coming up on doubling our numbers from last year.
Yes.
We're a heartbeat away. That's incredible.
That's about 70 meals a day. I did it at home.
That's amazing.
That's nuts.
I just said
Yeah.
that because that's amazing.
Yep. So a summary of the program will be provided to the school committee at the September meeting. So there's some reporting that we have to do, and I'll get together with Ken LePage to do that once the program closes out. We do have 2 grant updates.
Can I interject briefly about the summer food program?
Absolutely.
Is it possible, do we have adequate time to generate a survey for the last few weeks, just to question, and it can be very open-ended, what you liked, what you didn't, are there ways to improve?
I can get in touch with Ken about that.
If we can do it perfect, if not, I'll make a note for next year. I realize I'm kind of late on thinking of that.
Great.
So, thanks.
All right, so we have 2 grant updates. One of the grants is called Teaching with Primary Sources. It is a grant through the Library of Congress in partnership with Waynesburg University. So Kelly Brown, one of our staff members, has worked really hard on putting together that grant. And so that grant covers a 2-day PD for K-12 educators. There are 25 educators participating from school districts around the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. So they'll be participating in that 2-day PD in August, and then ongoing professional development around using primary sources in their classrooms along with narrative to get kids to connect events and history and storytelling and all those pieces together. So they're very excited about that. I believe that 2-day workshop is actually happening this week. The second grant is the Partnership for Reading Success in Massachusetts, otherwise known as PRISM 3. Easthampton Public Schools was awarded $66,500 to support improvements in English language arts and literacy instructions in grades 4 through 12. Easthampton is going to use these funds to implement a new grade 4 and 5 literacy curriculum, core knowledge language arts, which includes coaching plans, professional development, and curricular resources for grades 4 and 5 at MVS.
So that literacy curriculum is called Core Knowledge Language Arts?
Yes, CKLA.
Okay.
That's what it's
called. Okay.
Yep. In your packet also is the personnel report for July. As I noted last month, right, I don't have vacancies listed because we're still in the process of onboarding and filling positions for August. Hopefully at our September meeting, we'll be able to give you a full update on any vacant positions that we have as we open the new school year.
Great. Does anyone have any questions?
Can I make a comment?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I spoke with a teacher that went to the teaching with primary sources, PD, and it sounds incredible. I know teachers are often tasked with bringing social studies into literacy and vice versa, and it's a great thought and process, but it's sometimes hard to juggle. And so it sounds like there's some authors there with some great literacy text, nonfiction text, things that relate to the social studies curriculum and things like that can just double down on just sharing that story of the history in both places, which is really helpful for kids.
Game changer for like grade 3 curriculum, grade 5 curriculum, grade 8 curriculum in particular.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Anybody else have comments, questions?
I just want to say thanks to everybody who worked on those grants, and that's like $91,000 that we don't have to pay for. And then also I wanted to mention that the summer food program operates at no cost as well. So sometimes it feels like, especially now with what's going on federally, it feels like all the doors are closing, and it's nice to know that there are still opportunities for us to get the things that we need. So thank you.
I have a quick question. Do you want to give us a tiny blurb on CKLA, or would you rather do that under your updates? I'm just curious to hear how it's different than what we're using in the past, what made us choose it, just any notes we had about CKLA.
So there was actually a really good pilot. It was, we had 2 options that we were piloting for our early grades. It's an evidence-based curriculum. So it's aligned to the science of reading and all of the best and most updated brain-based research on how kids learn to read. And it also, it's more than just books, right? It is teaching content through literacy.
Right.
And that's really important. We found ourselves supplementing a lot of the material in our old curriculum. So, teachers had to go out and find other books and resources. And this really is a curriculum that encompasses all of that. So it was identified by our curriculum director as well as educators. And what's really great is that, we have people that are going to be able to use the curriculum, coach around the curriculum, and get that hands-on support in our schools. So I think it's going to be a game changer for us in early literacy instruction, and it includes pre-K, which is such a foundational year that we were missing. So really excited about that.
And that grade 4 to 5 literacy was a particular pressure point that we identified in the past year or two, right, through our data?
In general, right, but particularly that.
So and I was not an elementary teacher, but from my understanding, that's where you're going from just building phonics and understanding things phonetically, where you're really starting to have to, understand context and nuance, and that's that's a whole other hill to climb. Excellent. Very exciting. Thank you so much. Have a sparkling evening. All right, we're going to close up the business update and move back up to superintendent update. The first item there, we want to move directly to the EHS handbook.
Yes.
Great.
All right, I'm going to call up Bill to walk us through some of the updates.
Good evening, folks. Thanks for having me. So 2 documents I hope were included in your packets, one of which is called Summary of EHS Handbook Changes 2026, and that's the document that I'll be using to review the changes. It has a cover page which lists 6.
I'm going to pause. So
Yes.
we don't have it. So like we're 5.
Yeah.
If we could walk it through in that way. Apologies. That's not your issue. That's our issue. Just to be clear.
Okay, does anybody need to go potty first? Sorry. I'll try to
Eric,
limit my
did you-
5-year-old
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah.
That one only, yes.
Yeah, okay. Just seeing.
Yeah, give me the signal. All right, so I listed 6 items that we are changing in the handbook, and I'll go through them one by one. At some point, I think you'll be able to review them in writing, and always you can forward any questions that you may have. The first one, and they're going sort of as they appear in the handbook. The first one appears on page 6, which is adding language to our non-discrimination phrasing. This came at the recommendation of the superintendent, who got that recommendation from the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents. It adds Regulation 603 CMR 26.051, which I'm sure that you recognize right away.
That's one of my,
And it essentially just provides additional clarity on our policy around non-discrimination, and also lets people know that they can request accommodation information from the principal based on if they're part of a protected class. Superintendent Balch, is there anything you wanted to add in terms of that particular piece? Okay. Any questions? Feel free to look at it when you get the document. It's pretty self-explanatory. The next item appears on page 8 of the document, and it is the addition of and slight change to our daily bell schedule. So we are changing our daily bell schedule slightly, and I'll explain that in a moment. When we made the change, I went to go add it into the handbook, and I realized, oh, look, the daily schedule is actually not there. So that seems like a good thing to add. And as with everything, documents that exist for a long time, they get changed over time. They're living documents. So we added the daily bell schedule and incorporated the following change. We have typically started our day with a 10-minute advisory period, which served as our homeroom. We took daily attendance for DESE purposes and played announcements and that kind of sort of business of the day. What we found, our data demonstrated that a lot of students were not attending that advisory. It's not a credited class, and so students were taking advantage to get an extra 10 minutes of sleep or not prioritizing. Even they come in the building, they weren't always getting into advisory. So what we have done is take the homeroom activities and embedded them, taken the time that we use for advisory and embedded it into the first period class, A block. So A block is now going to be 8 minutes longer, and there will be a dedicated time by which the A block teacher will play announcements and do whatever homeroom business needs to be done. They will also take attendance for their A block class and then take a separate attendance for homeroom for reporting purposes. We feel like this will be incentivize students to get to class because there's more at stake, and clean it up a little bit. The nice byproduct of this is that we eliminate a 3-minute passing period that used to be between advisory and first period.
Right.
And we were able to slide that into the lunch period, which
Excellent.
used to be only 20 minutes, is now 23 minutes. And appreciation to our friends at Chartwells for being flexible to make that work. More of an imposition on them.
Nice work.
Thank you. A lot of people helped. And a lot of great ideas from a lot of different places. So that is change number 2. And after tonight's meeting, I will start sending that out to the community so they're aware.
At 7:35, we mean it?
Yeah, should be.
Cool.
Today, you mean? Oh, no.
No.
Third change is in respect to, it's on page 15, in respect to eligibility for sports. So the change is that it specifies that credit recovery programs like summer school cannot be used to reinstate eligibility for the upcoming season. I'll explain in a moment. The reason for this is to ensure equity, that our eligibility rules are equitable across all seasons. So, in a second semester class, if I failed a class, our prior policy was that you could go to summer school, make that class up, and then reinstate your eligibility for a fall sport.
All right.
The problem with this is that you can't do that if you play a winter sport or a spring sport. If you fail a class in our fall semester, we don't have a summer school equivalent for the first semester. So those students don't have the opportunity to recover those credits and become eligible. So in order to create equity, we felt like it was important. What we wanted to do is to say that it's the same for everybody. I can see you look, Laura.
I'm just thinking, it's
Yeah,
fine.
I know, and your thinking is, can we find a way to make it equitable in the other direction so that students who fail in the first semester have the opportunity to make themselves eligible for the spring semester?
Which is hard.
Yeah, there's two actual answers to that, and I'd like to address them both, if you don't mind. I asked the question,
Absolutely,
I'll answer
yeah.
both.
We have a deep connection.
Yes.
Go, Bill, yes.
The first one is, we don't have the resources to provide the same level of credit recovery during the school year that we do during summer school. It would not, there's no way to do them both. The second is that we are actually, I think, philosophically moving away from accommodation and toward accountability. We have been very accommodating since the pandemic and built in accommodations along the way in recognition of the student needs, mental health needs, academic needs, lots of things that we have done to recognize and acknowledge and support students coming out of the pandemic. We have also seen that the need for those level of accommodations is reducing. And in fact, our staff last year started a dialogue around how we can increase student accountability across the board. And we really do feel, I think, as a staff, that it is time to start moving the pendulum back in that direction. So this particular change is kind of a nice microcosm of it, because instead of saying, well, let's figure out a way to support and accommodate the students who failed in the first quarter or the first semester, what we're saying is, no, the students in the second semester are just as accountable for their grades as the students in the first semester. And if they fail, they are not eligible for fall sports. They cannot say, oh, well, I'll just go to summer school and therefore be able to play my fall sport. I think that's the direction that we'd like to start moving incrementally, step by step, where we feel it's appropriate, and that this is an example of how we want to do that.
Do you mind if we take questions on this point? Before
Absolutely.
Anybody have questions or comments?
I don't have, I appreciate that move. I think that as a teacher in middle school, I see that sometimes we think we're helping them by giving them extra chances over and over, when really it's that kind of moment where they realize, okay, I just lost something. That usually allows them, I think about it with testing, sometimes I don't have kids retake tests unless they ask me if they want to retake it. Because if I make you retake it, it's not really worth the while. But if you have the really desire to do better, then you'll own that and you'll do better. So I think it's a great shift that will ultimately help them in the long run.
Thank you.
It sounds like it makes sense to me. Thank you for thinking of the fairness of it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Sam?
Yeah, no, I agree. It sounds fair to me. I was just wondering, it sounded like there were some students involved in that change. I was just wondering if...
No, we did not consult with students in this. I think the athletic director came to me actually last year and said, we should make this change.
Yeah.
And then we did not. He came back to me this spring and said, hey, remember that change we forgot? So I wanted to ensure we did it this year. And I think the timing is right. There are other things that we are doing to put students, more accountability on students, including the show up on time.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I think that's good. And I really like that with that particular example too, just being able to like move that passing period, give them more time at lunch. Like, I think it's kind of listening to what is actually really important to them as well, which is more of that kind of meaningful break in the middle of the day.
Yes.
So
3 minutes does not sound like a lot.
when your lunch is only 20 minutes long, it is.
It is. It's so long. Yes.
Yep, exactly.
So
yeah, I appreciate it.
Mayor, if you have anything,
I think accountability is critically important, especially now. I would say it's not all sunshines and unicorns, though, because I think there is a potential flip side to this. You know, there are a significant group of students whose motivation for school is extracurriculars and sports in particular. I think sports encourages a lot of other behaviors that could be beneficial for the overall school experience. So I think it's not an easy move, because I think there is a negative piece to it. So I think I just want to acknowledge that. But I do think accountability is critically important, and so I think that's probably a smart move.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I agree, there's nothing worse than having to say to a kid, I'm sorry, but you can't play.
Yeah.
And here's why. You got a 62 or, 58 instead of a 60. And that's a hard lesson. Often it's the last time I have to have that conversation with that kid. So.
I'm wondering if there's any safeguards we could put into place, like such as, frequent check-ins or check-ins with Brian, just to determine, and coaches, right? Having those meaningful connections with staff if there is a student that is in danger of, not being able to be eligible for a sport.
I assure you they are there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if teachers are promoting, because it's all the age-old, the kid that asks for extra credit at the end of the, it's like when you're struggling, teachers to promote to the students, if you're struggling, ask, and we will provide, we provide extra help, we provide ability to correct things and things like that. So yeah, just having them, instead of waiting until the end, teaching them that lesson of, it's okay to struggle in your academics, but just when you do find yourself struggling, that's when you need to start figuring out how to get
it is a rare occurrence that we have students that are not eligible to play. I think the culture of the school is that you need special classes, and there is enough support, I think, built in. It does happen occasionally, but I think that's valuable in itself.
Yeah. Linda, did you have any comments or questions?
I did, but I can't find the raised hand button.
That's okay. I was coming to you, and then we're fine. So go ahead, Linda.
Okay. First of all, I believe accountability is important, and I think that's probably moving in the right direction. I did have a question. Are there any eligibility requirements for participating in music programs or the theater arts or any of those programs?
Same requirements. Yeah, we talk about it in terms of athletics, but they really apply to, the plays, the performances. They don't apply to the band and the chorus because those are course requirements. Mm-hmm. But for extracurricular performances, yes, those same rules apply.
Okay.
Any other groups, a student council, et cetera, any of those?
Student council has their own bylaws that are just as strict, actually stricter. Same thing, National Honor Society. So they police themselves in that regard. But none of the other clubs really do, but none of the other clubs have that same level of dedication and participation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Linda, did you have anything else? Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, my other point into that is kind of build on what Salem was saying is there, and I know that we're moving towards what?
Accountability.
Oh, she froze. Give that just
We've
a
been having
second.
this problem all day.
There's a ghost that lives in our. Hey, Linda, you're frozen, so I'm gonna ask a question to buy you some time and come. Oh, you're back. You're back. I think you're back. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Start your question over.
Okay, so I was just saying that adding to what Salem has said about sports and again theater, acting, any of these things can be something that keeps the students motivated, wanting to stay in school and to attend school. I know that, of course you reach out, we have midterm reports, all that type of thing, but is there any way that the counselors reach out at a point and say, listen, you're at risk at this point?
Yes, there is a lot of safeguards built in place. It starts with the teacher. When the teacher feels like their efforts are not effective, by reaching out to the student, reaching out to the parent, they will often reach out to the school counselor. School counselor will make efforts. If that doesn't work, they'll come to us. We do a lot of work to try and help students stay on point. If the student is engaged in an activity, we might then incorporate either the athletic director, the coach, or the play director to help motivate the student to do what they need to do. Usually by then, we have success, but not all students are motivated by adults, so it doesn't always work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a One little note that I think about is, and it would only apply to those fall semester sports participants would be, or I'm sorry, I guess the spring, that I wonder how many of them, if they were to fail a class in the spring and know that even if, like you're saying, they may not. So I would, this is a roundabout way of saying, we trust your expertise in leadership, so I think this would pass. But I would love to revisit this conversation a year from now with data from the past 2 years about how many kids retook courses, how many kids in this year fail and don't retake, and how the failure rate just lines, just to kind of watch and keep an eye. These programs kind of take time to institute and grow, so it's just something I'd like to keep an eye on. Yeah. I know it's a tough balance between like hitting everybody where they are, right? Supporting them and what their talents are, but clearly the point of school is the education first, so. All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anybody else comments or questions? Okay, we can move on. Thank you so much.
3 more items.
Yeah.
And number 4 has several parts. So in number 4, the area is in attendance. And these are really like tweaks to what we've been doing to, again, move toward greater accountability and clarity within the handbook. One of the issues that we have had to grapple with in the past is that the handbook was not specifically clear about what kinds of absences are considered excused versus unexcused. So what we've done is delineated all of the reasons that a student's absence may be considered excused and said, if it's not on that list, it's unexcused, including parents if you just call in, because that's not considered an excused absence. The reason for that is that there are parents who will call their student in 45 times in a semester. So that is just, it's not a change in any policy, it's just adding clarity. But it's significant because we have to field those questions a lot. The second thing is adding clarity about class cuts, which is when a student is out of class for more than 10 minutes without authorization from some adult, they're assigned a class cut and how that impacts their overall attendance. And so that's considered an unexcused absence, and we don't allow them to make that up. Like you can make up to 5 absences, unexcused absences, but not specifically class cuts. If you're in the building, we're not saying, yes, you can stay after and make up that time. You should be in class. Again, that's more of a clarity thing. It also clarifies what the purpose of the phone call home is and why it's important for parents to call their students in. So when you get all that information saying, well, if you call them in, thank you, but it's still an unexcused absence, the natural question is, why should I call them in? And the answer is that way it doesn't trigger a phone call to you, an automated phone call saying your student is not in school. The purpose of that phone call is to ensure that the parent is aware that their student, if they've already called in, they don't get that phone call. So again, clarity around an issue that people have asked the question. The next change provides the rationale for why we use 9 as the cutoff for losing 9 unexcused absences for losing credit. That is based on DESE's definition of chronic absenteeism, which is 10% of a school year, 180 days, that's 18 days over a full year, that's 9 days per semester class. So it just adds that language and clarifies again. So people ask me, what 9 seems like a random number. It's not random, it's based on that definition. Clarify academic and discipline consequences for being tardy and clarifies procedures for early dismissal. So we are really targeting our tardy data this year. We feel like that was something that was not where we want it to be. So it's in our school improvement plan to improve our overall attendance and our tardy. And I think the shift to in the morning will help that, but we're also looking to create a system whereby we can track tardies more efficiently and therefore apply consequences more consistently. That has been a problem based on personnel and capacity. So we're looking to add some systems in to try and make sure that we can do that consistently and students can know, okay, I've got this X number of tardies I'm going to be assigned at detention and I'm going to be held to that.
comment about that. I'm just thinking thinking about the tardiness in particular. If we could make it clearer to parents what time is the earliest time they could drop kids off, because that breakfast is provided right at that time. So I think if we maybe hit that a couple of times via Parent Square in the first month,
Sure.
maybe people could adjust schedules. Like if there was something about one parent is dropping or whatever it is, maybe they could make like a 15 or 20 minute earlier amendment to their schedule or something.
Yeah, I mean, the tip, I think our policy would say 7 o'clock, but really, you can come earlier.
Yeah.
I'm there.
So if we just kind of hammer that, because if somebody had asked me, I wouldn't know exactly how early, so maybe we can just advertise that a little more strenuously in the fall. And then also just get them to eat that free breakfast.
Which got better as the year went on, I think.
Nice.
The breakfast did, or the?
The quality or attendance of the breakfast?
Correlation or causation?
These 5-year-olds. All right, so we're up to number 5 out of the list of 6. Any other questions regarding any of that? Again, most of it is clarity. There's no real significant change. This is a small change, but I think a significant one. So on page 20 in the student schedules section, we used to have a 5-day drop-add period at the beginning of the school year where students could request a change in their schedule. But we had only one drop-add period that counted for the whole year.
Right.
So we're adding a second drop-add period
Great.
at the beginning of the second semester. Makes sense. And the last one is the competency determination language. So when we proposed our CD last year, I believe, we said 10th grade English, algebra and geometry, biology or physics. State came back and said 2 years of English, algebra and geometry, and biology, physics, or chemistry or engineering, or the equivalent thereof. So essentially the same thing for all intents and purposes of what we already had. But I have added the language that DESE recommended or required. I used their language instead of the language we had. They included integrated math, which is not a program that we use, but I used equivalent language, equivalent courses in case somebody came from another district, we could say, yes, this is the same thing as ours. So the CD is, the language is updated, but the mechanics of it or the bones of it is not really changed.
Except
the U.S. history part.
Yeah.
Yes.
We added that.
So that's added in as well, and that's for as of the class of 2027.
Great.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
Anybody have comments, questions?
So just like a really quick rundown, the first is what DESE came out with. It was new guidance that they just released. So that's at the top. Then we have what we currently have as approved by Easthampton, and then the bottom is where we are looking to get approval.
If I were actually 5, I just don't understand this. That was really well laid out.
Yeah.
Anybody have questions, comments?
And these documents will all be in the packet when the minutes get submitted. So people, and they'll be in the handbook, but just so folks want to look when minutes get posted.
Yep. Okay.
Just to...
Sam had a question.
Shoot.
I just want to, just for people who are watching, just clarify, the competency determination is to replace the MCAS, the passing score on the MCAS. So that's different from graduation requirements. So you have to attain the competency determination to then be eligible to receive a diploma once you complete the other requirements.
Correct.
It's very confusing, but this is...
If you think about it in this way, it would be nearly impossible for you to meet graduation requirements without taking off the competency requirements.
So I just wanted to make sure that was clear for everybody listening.
Okay.
And I'm sure there are going to be additional guidance from DESE that comes out about graduation requirements because they're having some focus groups and things like that. So we may have to revisit our graduation requirements, but I feel really good about these CD requirements.
And I love that we require U.S. history.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
I think that's one of our local requirements anyway for graduation. I just emailed you the documents. It occurred to me, I can just do that right here while I'm standing here. So you have the opportunity to review them, and feel free to ask any questions after the meeting if you need to.
I think, the changes were pretty small. But on the only kind of more significant one, I think we did discuss, and nobody has any misunderstanding.
But just an overall
Yeah.
question. So I'm just noting as you were going through these so carefully that this is the third or fourth time that I've heard you going through these handbook changes. And I'm just impressed by like every year you're like looking at the handbook and finding these little things to like make policies clearer and
That 3
make it
minutes is
better.
baller.
I appreciate,
It's great.
I appreciate the feedback on that. Maybe there's still parts of it that make me go.
Sure, but at least it's being reviewed every year. I'm just impressed by like,
Yeah, can't take it all on every year.
yeah. So thank you for doing it with this level of detail. I think this is really important that it stays up to date this way.
Yes, thank you.
I think it's a level of detail that not everyone gives handbooks, so
Second that.
thank you.
All right,
Great.
have a lovely
you.
evening.
Thank you. Do you need a vote?
We do. So I will entertain a motion to approve the EHS handbook changes as laid out by Principal Evans.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second?
Thank you, Sam. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Linda. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Wonderful. Thank you again, Principal Evans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
We are going to move on to the Mountain View handbook.
They actually didn't have any changes except for their staff list for this year. Next year, they'll have some changes as they'll have a new school improvement plan.
Because the vote that we would have taken last year would have been to approve it for that school year, then I would entertain a motion to approve the Mountain View handbook as it stands for the upcoming school year.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second?
Thank you, Sam. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Linda. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We are down to Student Showcase. It feels a little bit like The Price is Right. I'm that level of excited. Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
So really excited to launch this and ran this by leadership, and they were also so very excited to share and tell the story of the great work that's happening at their schools. So what we're going to do is the start of every school committee meeting is going to have 15 minutes max, where students or educators are coming and sharing and showcasing performances or work that's happening. We want to hear from kids, and we want to see them and learn about what they're doing in their schools, and to really celebrate the great work that's happening in the buildings every day. So we have a rotation that we mapped out. So every school will have an opportunity to showcase students 3 times. And they're going to bring students along from our littles to our high school students and just get to really share. And they're going to, we're going to invite parents and caregivers as well. And Jean Libby is going to also take that and do a spotlight on our parent square of the students that did the performance or showcase or whatever it was. So again, just making sure that we're sharing the wonderful work that's happening. So very excited to launch that.
It's going to be great for our YouTube numbers, I think.
Were you trying?
Not a lot of people tuning into these school committee meetings, sadly.
Most of them are just me, so.
No, I can't wait.
This is
I'm
awesome.
very excited.
This is gonna be great.
And the leadership, the principals, and head of schools were so excited about this. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
overwhelming positive
awesome.
response.
Cool.
So we should talk to them how we want to work the student representative update too, especially for the Mountain View, just so they feel comfortable and they understand parameters to share. So we'll work on that with them and maybe pull them in October so they're comfortable. Okay.
All right, so the next thing I had on the agenda, it's just some teacher convocation updates. We have our teacher convocation, so our big welcome back to school ceremony for educators and staff is August 26th. We have a couple of wonderful, amazing guest speakers. Chair Scott is one of them, and we have NSBA President Devin Sheehan joining us to, to just really get people excited. Our theme is Steps That Inspire, so that's kind of going to be the overarching theme, and just really talking about, steps to move forward and, taking small steps and the big, the impact that those small steps have. So really excited about that. And we'll also go over some superintendent priorities. So what I'm going to be focusing on, not necessarily my goals, but priorities for the district. And then we're going to go over some new policies, like we'll talk about the new AI policy. We'll go over some expectations. We're going to go over the new staff handbook, and we're also going to go over like safety plan, sort of all the logistics of opening up schools successfully. So we're going to make it really celebratory. I'm very excited, and I can't wait. So. And the last bit of other news is I got to spend 2 half days with leadership in the district, and we did some amazing work. People were sharing the work that's happened. We did a keep, start, stop protocol. So do we need to keep doing? What do we need to start doing? What do we need to stop doing? And people shared some amazing like insights. I laid out my priorities for them. They gave me some great feedback on the priorities. So when you see my priorities, they are really representative feedback of, that the leadership team also had input on. So it was just two really great days of having fun together, but like digging in and doing some really good work and figuring out what do we need, like what are our next steps and how can we do that together. And we talked about looking at data. We talked about looking at how we communicate with families, and the excitement around Parent Square in the room was really palpable too. So I think we're all really looking forward to streamlining communication for everybody.
That'll be huge.
So August 21st is our last full day. So it'll be like, 2 full days that we got to spend with each other.
Nice.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Well, we are going to move. We've already passed our business update. So if no one has any questions or comments, we are going to move to school committee discussion. All right, we've done competency. So we'll start. Sam, is the policy subcommittee update lengthy?
No, we're meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Done.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much for that. Excellent. And finance?
No update.
Right. This is our slow season. We do finance. This is our downtime.
Promise.
CES, Sam?
I'm part of the working group that's working on finding a new director, and that's chugging along. And
is it?
We're going to be working with a search agency for that.
Do they? Who? Okay.
We have not chosen the search agency.
Okay.
So
interesting.
We've got three candidates for that. So that's happening, and I think our next full CES meeting is not until September. So we're good.
Great. Megan, do we have an MVS playground update?
We do. I'm very excited to share. Let me just paste this in here as an update. None. Okay, great. Okay, so we have a leadership meeting tomorrow morning to kind of go over some of the background, sort of like state of the union, like where are we, state of the playground union, where are we with things. And then just earlier today, the city planner, Allison, Jill, Pasquini-Torchia, Andrea and Judy and myself walked through with I'm not gonna remember their name, O'Brien, the company that did the current outdoor space, just to kind of get the ball rolling on like, what kind of estimates could we expect back? Can we get, like the low, medium, high?
You asked a contractor for a ballpark? How'd that go? What'd they say?
They're going to get back to us. They really are, but just sort of making sure that head of schools and principals are in the process and saying like, oh, that doesn't add, complication to where supervision stuff lies. So back when this was all brought up, my optimistic chair and I were like, by August, we'll have a playground.
We did say that.
And then the world. It turns out it's a long process to get a playground.
Yeah.
But it does sound realistic. So it'll, we'll be in the process of figuring out exactly what the school district wants to do at some of those leadership meetings, what our sort of options are for how to put some of these inclusive features in. We'll make some decisions. We'll probably spend, 8-9 months fundraising, because none of this funding is coming out of the school budget. We're not cutting teacher positions to, add slides or anything along those lines. So it'll be all grant funded, community fundraising. That will take us some time. And then hopefully the goal is next summer we could be breaking ground.
Great.
So it's happening.
Great. Thank you very much. Anybody have questions, comments about the playground progress?
Yeah, that was a bear.
Sorry about that. We did. I remember running my mouth and saying,
We both were like, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna have a new playground in August.
well, you know what? What is it, like, shoot for the moon, you land in the stars, or something like
You didn't
that?
say which August.
That's true. I might have, but I can deep fake that video. All right. We are going to move on then to the next item on school committee discussion, the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust update and discussion. We are also really grateful to be joined tonight by our HR director, Emily Russo. Hi, Emily.
Hi, everyone.
Emily, do you want to just give us kind of a brief overview and then we can see if members have questions, or do you want me to give a 30, how do you want to start?
Yeah, I can give a brief rundown on what's been going on.
Great.
Happy to answer any questions anyone has. So, as you all know, like, the health industry has been a little challenging over the last couple of years, especially since COVID. I think, you know, we, as the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, and I can give you a brief overview as to what the trust is, have been in a really healthy position for a long time. And unfortunately, we have come to a point where we are struggling a little bit more than we would like to be, and we need to fix that. So, but the trust is a collective body of 73 different either municipalities or governmental entities that come together, and we create our own insurance. So there's about 12,000 members currently, and we get to set our own premiums. We get to dictate what the co-pays are, deductibles, everything like that. So we get a lot of say in our insurance coverage, which has been a really wonderful benefit to the city for a long time. You know, we've been really fortunate not to have any deductibles and very low co-pays over the last years. But this year we kind of ran into some unexpected claims that hit our ceiling for insurance. You know, which could have been cancer claims or any kind of traumatic injury or long-term illness. So there have been quite a few of those claims that have come in since January. And then on top of that, there's been increased usage of the GLP drugs, which are like the weight loss drugs. And there's not a lot of a fielding or vetting process for getting people onto those drugs. And then it's a very low, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but the prescribers really don't have to pay anything to participate in that program. So it's falling solely on the trust to fund that, and it ends up being around $1,500 to $1,600 per month per person that uses those. So we've been, the way the trust is funded is through the premiums that are collected from the 73 bodies. That's how operations of the trust are held, and that's how we pay for the insurance that we use through Blue Cross Blue Shield. Now, we want a healthy 3 months reserve of funding in order to, that's like our ideal place. If we have 3 months of reserve, we're healthy, we're good. We have been slowly dipping into that over the last year or so, and we thought with the 18% increase that was put in July, we thought that maybe that would help to slow the bleeding. We didn't think that it would necessarily solve the problem entirely, but we thought it would buy us time so that we could look into other options, whether that be, you know, plan design change or other insurance, other pharmacy options. And then with those high claims that came in, we had to take more sudden action because we were far below the 3 month reserve and we were getting into almost 1 month's reserve. And if we didn't take immediate action to increase premiums, the trust would have run out of money by September, and then all of the communities that participate would have been out in insurance September 1st. We would have had to find new insurance. So it was an unfortunate decision that needed to be made, and I'd just like to reassure everyone that this was not a lightly made decision, and the trust as well as the city of Easthampton are doing everything we can to try to make sure we don't end up in a position like this again where we're having these kind of mid-year increases, and to find solutions as to how to keep the trust healthy, or the city, whether, you know, moving to a different insurance is a better option. So we're going to look at all the different avenues, look at maybe implementing other plans through the trust, maybe a high deductible plan or something that would give people other options while we come up with other solutions. So happy, I know that was very compact, so.
I actually think that was a good summary for those of who might not be familiar with how that system works. I have a couple questions and then we'll kind of go around. So we're the school committee, so I think my first question is, as far as the EEA and the support unions, are they able to make decisions about participation in the trust themselves, or or is it considered an Easthampton-wide cohort?
So there's the collective body called the IAC, which is one member from each union that meets to make decisions about insurance changes. So if we were looking to make a change, the insurance advisory committee, which is all those unions, would meet, bring that information to their unions, and then the unions, you know, could discuss, and we would collectively make a decision. The city does make the decision, but then we have to impact bargain any changes. The school union could not decide to just choose different insurance.
So the IAC that you're talking about, that's a citywide thing. That's not across the trust. That's just across the city.
No, that's just our city.
I see.
So we would meet with them to discuss. And then, you know, if a change was happening from the trust, let's just say we implemented a deductible or copay, something, then the trust would send that out to the members. The members would then take that to their insurance advisory committee, discuss it with the insurance advisory committee. If there's an impact that needs to be bargained with the unions, we would do that impact bargain with that committee and go from there. But the individual unions cannot make decisions, and we as a city cannot make decisions to change anything about the trust insurance. We can choose to go with another insurance as the city, but we can't opt in and out of certain benefits of the trust.
Sam, did you have a question?
So just to clarify, so I get my insurance through the GIC because I'm a state employee.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm able to choose, they give me like 6 different plans I can choose from. Is that similar here, or do they all have the same plan through Blue Cross?
Right now, we only have the HMO plan and the PPO plan from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We are looking at other options of implementing other plans, like a high deductible plan, or maybe, you know, this is something that we're going to start working on in hopes that maybe something, if it makes sense, would be implemented for next July 1.
Yeah. And are you expecting another increase in six months at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a January 1 increase. I definitely don't see that. The only thing I think in January is that's when the MedX for the retirees always has their increase every year. So no changes have been made to that plan yet. So they will have their standard January 1 increase. God willing, we will not have any other increases until July 1 next year, but I make no promises because I can't control, unfortunately, what happens. But I think the goal is to make sure that we are in a healthy enough position that that's not something we're looking to do.
So when they talk about a mid-year change, mid-year as it relates to this would be January, not July, right? Because does this rotate on the fiscal year?
October. This change is going into effect October 1st.
Right. Okay. So your normal process though starts and ends when?
July 1st.
Right. Okay. And this was kind of a slightly out of the norm increase.
Yeah.
Timing wise.
Very out of the norm.
Yeah.
Can I just for clarity for me, and maybe it's an obvious thing, is the increased cost to employees in our town a decision by the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, or is it in response? It's not. Is it in? But is that in response to an increase by Blue Cross Blue Shield? No.
No. So we pay Blue Cross Blue Shield like a flat sum every month, and then we'll like give them a deposit. And then what happens is our claims either go over that deposit and then we owe them the next month, or they're under that deposit and we get that money as credit for the following month.
Okay.
Our claims they've been exceeding that monthly deposit.
Okay.
So the premiums from the cities are worked into that. But the trust has their own insurance advisory committee, which is one member from each of the 73 units that votes. And it was almost a unanimous vote to increase the 20% for October 1st.
What's the voting threshold? Is it just a majority vote, Emily, or does it require some higher percentage?
I want to say it's weighted. I do know we have a little bit more weight because we are one of the bigger communities.
Right. Right.
So that means everyone, I think you just said this, but that means every one of those 73 units all have the same percent increase to their premiums? Okay.
Yes.
Which is what, close to 20%?
It is 20% for October 1st.
Okay. I have some more
Coming out of
Megan, go ahead with your questions.
Yeah. So it's 20% increase in the premiums for the individuals who are on the plan. Is there any?
City.
Okay, the city's also doing a 20%?
Well, the premium the premium is increasing, so both parties.
The whole premium increases, so, and then the premium, let's just say it was like $100, the city pays 75% of that $100, the employee pays 25%. So it's an overall 20% increase for everybody, and that's split up 75% the city, 75% the employee, or I'm sorry, 25% the employees.
That's what I wanted to check, that it was the 75-25 of the increase. Okay.
Yeah.
So just another question. I think it is fair for our educators and staff to know kind of the timeline of how this happened, when this sort of vote was happening and decision on the trust side of things, and was the union brought in or at least informed before? I'm just sort of asking questions that I myself would want to know if I was on this,
What did the timeline look like?
May? Was this?
Yeah. What did the timeline look like leading up to it?
Say the very big discussion about a possible mid-year increase started in May, and then I want to say the end of June was when it became a reality. Of this is something that needs to happen, and then it was voted on. I don't remember what date I sent my notice out, but it was voted on about a day or two prior to that. So it was a very quick moving decision. It needed to be quick. The GLP-1s, that discussion had been going on a little earlier in the year. I want to say that discussion probably started in April, and the decision was made in June.
And so that was another piece we didn't touch on yet, is that in addition to the 20% increase, the eligibility for GLP-1s outside of the necessity of because of a diabetes diagnosis, so it's been removed for anything short of that, access to it through the plan.
Yes, it's been removed for weight loss purposes only.
Yeah. Anybody else questions? Mayor.
Emily and I have been working on this quite a bit. I just want to just make sure everybody knows one of the things that could potentially limit our capability to offer a different type of health insurance that might be cheaper or might be different is the contract.
Yeah.
It is literally written into the contract that Blue Cross Blue Shield needs to be provided.
Which contracts say Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Well, I know there's at least 3, but schools is part
We
of
think that we use Blue Cross Blue Shield in the contract language. I did not look that up yet.
I feel like we looked at that maybe today.
In the union contract?
It said Blue Cross Blue Shield, not the insurance trust.
Nope.
It says to identify them.
Yeah, it was HMO or PPO for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
That was a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that people know that, because that's a really important component to this discussion. For example, say we wanted to switch to the GIC, I
mean, we can amend the contract, certainly, but it'll require, right?
But it is a consideration that needs to be taken.
I mean, it is and it isn't. You're going to need the buy-in of the union to make that change anyway. So the only thing that I would say about that is if the EEA was resistant to whatever was being presented as an option, they could just dig in their heels and say, we refuse to amend the contract. And so, I mean, yeah.
And that would be not great.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to get their buy-in anyway. Yeah. So the contract is kind of superfluous. Sam, can you just touch on, because we're concerned, as I'm sure Emily and the mayor are, on several levels of this. I think for Sam and I in our discussions, kind of the most emergent concern is for our lowest wage earners in the school district, what that premium increase on that timeline means. And Sam had raised and did some outside research about something that some of those population may income qualify for.
My day job, I work for the Department of Developmental Services, and I work a lot with families who are on Mass Health. And so if you have a child with a disability, you can apply for Mass Health as a secondary insurance for them. And then you apply for premium assistance, and premium assistance can actually, not only does it cover your Mass Health premium, but in most cases you'll actually get some reimbursement for your regular health insurance. And especially if you are if you're a paraprofessional in our district, for instance, you'll certainly qualify. And then there's also a premium assistance program through Mass Health that is for people who make up to 300% of the federal poverty limit, which would cover, especially for folks who have kids, your household size gets bigger. So exactly right. So what I would recommend doing, and then again, you get premium assistance for that. Sure. That coverage is premium assistance.
So Sam and I are going to work this week to just follow up with the union leadership, make sure that if they're not already aware of this information, that we're going to share all of that information and resources, because these bills will come due October 1st. Yeah. And we want to provide whatever support.
It certainly won't cover, not everybody will qualify for that, but we definitely it's not something that everybody knows about, so we want to make sure that you guys get the information that you need to make good decisions for you and your family.
That's right.
Yes, and then, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to add that we are holding a special open enrollment for people who are currently on the PPO plan, if they would like to move to the HMO plan to help mitigate some costs. So it is only for that purpose. It is not to make any other changes. But if people are on the PPO plan and they do want to move to the HMO plan, we will help them do that for October 1st.
And that's just a difference in the monthly premium, as if that's reflected because the co-pays are higher, the deductible is higher?
Yeah, the PPO plan is the preferred provider plan, so it can be used anywhere. The HMO plan is specific to New England, and there's higher premiums for being out of New England and using it.
Okay. Higher co-pays. Higher co-pays, but lower premiums?
Yes.
Yeah.
Emily, the open enrollment period, I think starts August 26th. What is the window it is when school is in session?
Let me start pulling it up. So we're starting it August 25th, Monday, August 25th, and then we're going to have it go through September 5th. So it's a 2-week window.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I guess I want to say sort of two things. One is that I just really want to acknowledge that this is a huge hardship for the folks who work in our district. And it was surprising to everyone on the school committee when it happened in the district. I think this was surprising all around. And the timeline, as Emily explained, went really fast. So I really just want to acknowledge that, because I know that it is a hardship. And the other thing is, keeping that in mind, I'd really love for some of these things, if we could do even just an couple of after school days where there are folks who can help, or maybe some of the opening days, just to
if we could have that information ready at convocation about the potential for premium assistance, and I'll talk to Adam about that.
Be there to assist in some, just make it as easy as possible so that these, our fine educators don't have to go out of their way to figure out how to do this, that we're going to them and doing everything we can with the assistance programs and then whatever else Adam and the EEA are saying, would be helpful.
This is a bit out of our purview, okay?
It sure is.
This is the fact that we're human beings who recognize that this is an incredibly This is another difficulty after several years of difficulty. And we want to A, honor and acknowledge that, and B, do anything within our power to aid wherever we can. And then I will say C, we need to step up our game as a school committee about being informed and educated on all the intricacies. I'll confess, we discussed very little about the intricacies of the insurance plan when we did contract negotiations. And that's on me, and we need to do better, and whoever comes after us needs to step it up a little bit. And well, this is, we learn, we grow, we make mistakes.
It's something we can do.
This was an oversight, so we need to correct
Well,
that.
and to be fair, one of the reasons we didn't discuss it was because for the most part, people were happy with it. Like, it's one of the things that people like. So I think, that's.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. I think that's.
It's, it really hits where it hurts, this one does.
It does, it does. Emily, do you have anything else you want to share tonight? And I think you're doing a Q&A with a different audience of the stakeholders at some point.
I have, yes, this school reached out to me, and then I also am meeting with the insurance advisory committee tomorrow.
Okay.
So I will be meeting with them, and they can bring information back to their unions. And I'm always happy to answer any follow-up questions. I also am always happy to help people with those forms as well. We get a lot of those requests.
That's good to know.
The governmental assistance in our office, and we're happy to help you fill them out.
Great.
So.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Emily. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know. I wish I had something really inspiring to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everyone. We are aware, and we're going to reach out. If you have, email us, call me, text me. If you have other questions, if you can identify any other ways that we can be supportive.
Can I just?
Sam, go ahead. Absolutely.
This is, I read the newspaper. This came up in a couple other communities as well that are members, so far, that are members of this trust. One of them was Shutesbury, who's
September 22nd or 23rd, they're having a town meeting.
Yeah, they're having a special town meeting just on this topic. I think, from my perspective, we're kind of at a time in history where sort of everything is on the table. So, I'm definitely curious to hear if from anybody who's interested in looking at doing this a different way.
Sure.
And the other thing I just wanted to say is I feel like and I'll say I identify myself as a fat person, so I'm going to go go full throttle on this. I really feel like there's a lot of kind of blame that's being tossed around regarding the GLP-1 drugs, and I just want to say it kind of is not great because to hear, because I feel like I've spent my whole life being told just lose weight, you're driving up insurance premiums, you're making healthcare really expensive for everybody, and then it's oh, there's a weight loss drug, don't take it, you're driving up health insurance premiums for everybody, how dare you. So I just want to put it out there that your health is really important to us, all of you who work in the district, and you should take the medication that you need to take to be healthy. And that's between you and your doctor, and nobody's got a right to tell you what that is, and it's messed up that insurance companies have so much power over that, and I think that you should have access to the medicine that you need, and we need you and yourself and your health in order to have a strong district, so we appreciate you.
You know what it reminds me of that you and I talk about all the time?
What?
That tension between gen ed students and special ed.
Yeah, no, it is a similar thing. Yeah, it is. It is very much and there's no need to kind of split up.
No.
Split each other.
Everybody deserves what they need.
The drug companies are problematic, the insurance companies are problematic, and you should get the health care that you need.
Yeah.
So.
And if you've had a large claim since January, this is not
your
absolutely.
fault.
We're very happy that you are
had that insurance that you needed to get the care.
Use your insurance, have high expectations for it.
Was unhappy with that phrasing.
We're all in it together.
I think it's safe to say this was coming regardless of. This was coming.
Unfortunate phrasing.
I think the communication from the trust could have been better and more timely. I think they could have prepared people better.
Yeah.
But now once bitten, twice shy.
Yep.
Now we know. So we will keep a much closer eye on that, and we already have developed a better plan of communication with the union. And so we are looking forward to just better outcomes with a little more work. Okay. Yuck. All right, welcome to our TED Talk, everybody. And we're moving on to action items.
I'm up.
Megan.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the 7/22/2025 regular and executive session minutes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you, motion carries.
You can do, oh no,
I wasn't there.
you weren't there. Yeah.
Just noting that Salem's, okay. Motion to approve the school payroll dated 7/24/2025 in the amount of $410,951.56.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same.
Oh, sorry, aye.
I think I have to abstain on the financial stuff, right?
I hope not, because I need a quorum.
No, you don't,
Yeah,
you don't
you can
abstain
vote.
financial.
I have to, so.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Aye.
Yeah. Can we say sure?
Yeah, I thought about it.
Opposed?
It's an affirmative.
Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you, Eric. I will check, I'll
No,
make
you
a call for the next
I
meeting.
feel like I remember.
Because
the name.
sometimes we need you for a quorum.
Okay.
I know, but he has dual roles with the city council.
Yeah,
Right. Nobody's going to be able to answer that question for us.
that's fine.
Alrighty. Motion to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment. I'm so sorry.
No,
Jesus
I
God.
wouldn't
Megan, go
allow
ahead.
for you to do-
We're on a roll, I
The
love
insurance
it.
trust thing really
sounded
threw
great.
me.
Well, this is the thing, I'm still thinking
I was the
about it.
secretary.
Rolled into it, really.
It sounded perfect.
All right, go ahead, Megan.
Motion to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated 7/24/2025 in the amount of $6,036.
Second?
Thank you, Sam. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you, Eric. My goodness, we're done. Y'all, our next meeting dates, we'll see you again September 9th. A reminder to families, the first day of school is August 28th. We are accepting our pre-K and our kindergarten kiddos. Also, if you're in the high school and you're grades 10 through 12, don't show up until 10 a.m. on the 28th. And then pre-K and kindergarten start dates are a few days after that. So our next meeting is September 9th, and then October 7, October 21st, November 18th, and December 9th. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Megan. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna roll call out because we roll called in. Eric,
Good night.
Megan,
Good night.
Sam,
Good night.
Mayor,
Good night.
Linda.
Good night.
Thank you, Linda. Good night, Easthampton, and we'll see you on September 9th.